Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, nay ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, nay ya, hey ya, nay, hey ya, nay, hey ya, nay ya, hey ya, nay ya, hey ya, nay.
Hello, my name is Marshall Golden Eagle Jack. We've been working intensively with water ceremonies throughout our lands here in the western United States. We collectively came together on May 18th, 2010 and did a worldwide water ceremony for our planetary waters. So what we're doing is we're trying to break down the ceremony to help individuals integrate their own energies with what we call our water wheel ceremonies. Water wheels are basically a medicine wheel that's designed for waters. And so we're here in Northern California with our friend Kate and my beautiful partner Camilla Blossom, and we're going to go and explain a little bit more of what we can do as individuals in our own homes and in our own lands. The reason we bring this energy to our communities is we look at our water source. Many years ago, we go back to my childhood, of how I got introduced to this energy, this old ancient alchemy, if you will, of how important our water is. I grew up with the medicine people in my lands, and they basically taught me how powerful water really is. The elders say that water is the most powerful medicine we have on the sacred Mother Earth, and to treat it as powerful medicine. When I was young, I've noticed that in the springtime, the medicine people, the medicine men and women, would be gone for maybe a month, month and a half in the springtime. And so I asked my grandmother, where did the medicine people go during this time? And she explained it this way. She said that our medicine people were up in the mountains in all of the directions, the 4 directions in our community. And what they were doing is they were doing ceremony for our water. And being young, I really wasn't understanding what this meant. But over the years, as we gained knowledge of ceremonies and energy work and old ancient alchemy, what I understood is that the elders, the medicine people, would go up to our source waters, the beginning spirit of our water, and they would do ceremony there. The reason they did this was to enhance the energy of the water up in the mountain ranges. And so when the water was energized, everything that drank of this water downstream of it would also be energized, as well as the water is energized. And so what happens is that the plants become very, very strong. The animals who eat the plants become very strong, and we as humans that eat the animals and the plants, we become equally as strong. And so over the years, what we've found is that back in the 60s, the mid-60s, as many of our elders, the medicine people, were getting too old, or many of them had passed on, and they were handing over this energy to the next generation, but the next generation was influenced by a lot of alternative ways of understanding. And so basically what happened was our waters were not being tended to. And so between 1965 and about 1970, somewhere around there, we started to notice something that we didn't have in our lands before. And that was the infestation of bugs coming into our trees. We started to see some of the plants getting sick, and then the animals eating the plants would get sick. We had a lot of boils and stuff on their heads. And so what we realized is that the waters were being depleted of energy. And by acknowledging this, of how powerful water really is what we're trying to do is reintroduce into local communities, such as this one here in Ukiah, California, a way that we can all contribute to enhancing the waters here in this area by physically going to the water source. And so what we have here in front of us is what we call a sacred geometry realm that introduces the energy of water. Many of these small little crystals, we place them in the center of our ceremonies, and we energize these crystals with our intentions, with our thoughts. And so once we feel that there's enough energy into our little worker bees, if we call them, then these will physically go out into our lands. They will go out to the source points. And so once we've energized all of these crystals, now they're ready. These particular crystals are ready to go out into the lands to receive the energy of the water wheel. And so now, once these are energized and ready to go, then what's left to do is to create the generator. And so now we have this sacred geometry setting in front of us. And so this can be placed in our homes, or we can actually place it on our lands. It could be in the same format as you see here, or what we do is we take this format and we expand it. We have several water wheels that are, some of them are like 30 feet in diameter, some of them 15 feet in diameter, 20 feet. It can be in any size. The most important thing to recognize is that the energy needs to be duplicated. And so once we do this, once we set our intentions, first we ask permission to do this for our lands. We call on the energy of our lands, all of the plants, the animals, the water nations, all of these things, and we ask permission to help them out. And so now, by clearing space, sacred space in our homes and in our lands, is now we're able to start generating the energy. And so as we place the mat down, again in our homes or on the land, this is a center point, if you will, of where the energies are going to expand out to. So for instance, right here, if this table represented our center point for this particular area here in the Ukiah, this is a generator, and then the worker bees are placed out in our lands, if you will. So wherever these are placed in our lands, this water wheel will supply the energy to our worker bees. And so there's transmitting energy out to the worker bees, and the worker bees are transferring energy back into the nucleus. And so we enhance the energy by placing a water bowl, such as this one right here. This is cobalt blue water wheel. And we set it in the center. And what we can do is we can place some crystals inside of this water to really boost up the energies. And then what we do is once we have the crystals in place, we have a source point, source water, if you will. Now the selenite crystals come in many, many different shapes and sizes. In our big ceremonies, we like to use the towers. It is not necessary to use the towers, but this is what we use. Or we can use selenite rods, if you will. Something similar to this little length. They're about 5 inches long. Or we have another selenite entity, which is called a whale's tail. And so by using this energy, is what we do is that we place the towers or the whale's tails or the little rods on these sacred points. There are 6 points around here. And so in this instance, we'll use the towers, and we'll place them down on our mat. And as you notice, these towers are pointing straight up. And this visual here is what we're doing, is we're creating energy to receive the physical energy out of the universe in the galactic realm. It's coming straight down into this bowl, the sacred geometry, into the Mother Earth, and then coming back out and shooting the energy straight back up. Now, here's the information that we use in our homelands. The first thing we want to do is we want to energize the water in our homes. So, how do we do that? Is we place these towers inward to give this water in the bowl the energy that it needs, because this water comes from our homes. And so in our intentions is that we're asking for the purification, the quality of our water in our home to be as powerful as it can possibly be. And so as we hold ceremony with songs and drumming and whatever modality we want to use, is that we're literally energizing this water. And so because this altar is in our home, it's energizing everything that has to do with the water coming into our home. And so that is one of the sequences that we use in creating these water wheels. Now, the next objective is our lands. Where does our water come from that comes into our homes? Many of you probably know where that comes from. Many of you don't. Probably never even thought about it before. You just go to the tap and here comes the water. Well, where does that water come from? That is what we call source water, or the beginning spirit of your water. Now, this entails some physical journeys to identify in your lands, where does your source water come from. That's the most important thing to find out. Once you find the source water, say for instance here in this region, it's probably up in the western mountains that come down through a riverbank, and I'm assuming it feeds the water source here in Ukiah. That would be the first place where I would take the worker bees. And so I would journey up there. I would place the crystals in the water with the intentions of purification, the quality of the water, the enhancement of water, the vibration, on and on and on and on, to help the land out, to help all of the plants, the animals, and everything that lives within the water, and also to help me out in my own home. And so there may be other source waters that feed into this river. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find those tributaries and do the same thing. Is I'll take the little worker bees up to the tributaries, to the headwaters of the tributaries, place the crystals there, and then also place them where the marriage is, the confluence, if you will, of where the tributary enters into the river. And then I'll place some more crystals there with my intention. And so once I've done the physical work with the worker bees, now I've got these placed out there in the lands. Now what happens is now I can turn these crystals around. And so now what's happening is the water is receiving the energy at source. Okay? And so as you realize, there may be, who knows, maybe 10 water sources out there, or 20 water sources, or maybe even 30. What's important to recognize is that you can place more crystals to identify those places, and just keep on adding, adding, adding. Wherever you have a worker crystal, you want a field of energy to come into the center point and go out to this worker bee. And so basically what we're doing here is we've literally created a powerful generator of water energy. Not only here on our home, but out there on our lands. The more involved you get in these water ceremonies, the more understanding that you receive, the more energy you can give to the water wheel. Over here on this end is we have some pyrite stones. Now pyrite has a massive influence of energy, and so when we start adding the pyrite to our medicine wheel, I can already feel it. Just by adding them all the way around the medicine wheel, I can feel this amperage getting higher. We've also introduced some garnets, and what we do with the garnets is that we place the garnet right in the center of the water. Now I can really feel this energy just amping up just tremendously. And with the influence of our plant nation, as we introduce their medicines that come from them through what we call essences, divine essences, and so this particular essence is from the moss kingdom. And so the moss is very, very powerful, has a very powerful influence of energy. And so what we do is we want to place 2 or 3 drops in our water, and now the energy is going out to the moss, back and forth. And so here we have a pineapple energy. Now, when I say pineapple, everybody's thinking about Hawaii, right? So anyway, we're going to introduce some pineapple energy and to help the pineapples in Hawaii. But pineapple also has a frequency to it, just like a gem would. And so now this water is fully energized with just a few simple little tools. This energy can be enhanced in any way you feel in your own spirit that can contribute to the enhancement of the energy. And so basically what we're doing is we're going into communities teaching this realm. What we're looking for is a place in the communities where we can set up a large water wheel, if you will, that will benefit the whole community. This little structure here will benefit you in your home, and you will be linked in to other medicine wheels that we've created in different towns and different cities. For example, the medicine wheels in New Mexico, Arizona, Southern California, and we're working our way up through the coastline here in California and Oregon, and going all the way up to Portland, and hopefully up into Canada. And so we're taking this energy and we're introducing it and asking people for help in recognizing how powerful our water is. So again, we're just kind of in service, helping people understand that, yeah, you can make a difference with your water. And this is one of the ways, one of many ways that is very, very powerful. And the main thing to remember is that each of our water wheels are connected with other water wheels, so on and so forth. So if they're doing ceremonies in New Mexico, for example, that energy will influence this water wheel here, and vice versa, and the other water wheels that are created. So I think we've covered just about everything in a basic form of how we create a water wheel and what the energies do for our waters.
The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea. Mother, carry me, a child I will always be. Mother, carry me down to the sea. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. The river is flowing down to the sea.